Hi guys, I'm Oleg.
And I'm Vadim.
And in this video we will give you a quick update on the new iPhone 14 and Beastgrip Gear. We received an iPhone 14, we have it in the studio. It's actually an iPhone 14 Pro. We did some initial testings and we received a big amount of questions regarding compatibility of this new iPhone and our gear. So in this video we will try to answer them all.
We're also guys working on another video where we actually going to show you some sample footage shot on iPhone 14 Pro and our lenses. So let's actually start with Beastcage because that's one of the most asked questions that we receive if new iPhone 14 Pro can fit with any previous cages. So simple answer is no, because new iPhone has different physical size, has a larger camera bump, so it's not compatible with any of the previous cages. We actually have a sign up page on our website beastgrip.com where you can enter your email, sign up to our newsletter, and you're gonna be first to know when we're going to release new cages.
Okay, so now let's quickly discuss the Beastcam.
So guys, we are working on update because right now in Beastcam for 14 Pro and Pro Max there is no ProRes format. You can use 8-bit, you can use 10-bit HDR, but regular 10-bit it also has some issues with preview. So we are working on those bugs, and we're gonna try to do our best to release the update as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that, and we appreciate your patience.
So now let's talk about iPhone 14, Beastgrip Pro and Beastgrip lenses. We did some testing over the weekend as we had this phone for a few days, so Vadim will share some more information about that.
So guys, let's start with Beastgrip Pro, our universal rig. New iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, they both fit perfectly into the Beastgrip Pro. The lens alignment is perfect, everything just works. We actually updated the Beastgrip Pro back in May this year. So if you have older model, the lens mounts that we designed for 12 Pro Max and 13 Pro Max, that's gonna be your best setup if you don't have the latest version. I know that a lot of you been asking if we gonna sell upgrades to basically upgrade to the latest version, because we did update like a half of the unit. We are working on that, so we're probably gonna have it later this year. As for now, we just have actual finished units, so we don't have any upgrades yet. Let's discuss some lenses. I think we're gonna start with Kenko lens. That's our 0.75 wide angle lens, and like any other smartphones, any previous iPhones, this lens works perfectly with new iPhone 14 Pro Max. We were kind of concerned when Apple announced this iPhone, because the main camera module now have 24mm focal length equivalent, which is a little bit wider than on iPhone 13 Pro, but with our wide angle lens it's just works perfectly. There is no issues, it's sharp, there is no distortion, everything just fine. So
what about the DOF adapter?
Oh yes, let's quickly discuss DOF, because we already received a ton of questions that you guys have some issues focusing with the DOF. So what's the deal with that? New iPhone 14 Pro, it doesn't have the same macro focusing capabilities like previous iPhones. So every year, starting from iPhone 12 Pro Max, then iPhone 13 Pro series, now iPhone 14 Pro series, those cameras, they basically it's like macro focusing distance every time is getting larger. That means new iPhone cannot focus as close to the object as previous iPhones. That's causing the issue because now you cannot focus properly on the focusing screen in the DOF adapter. So the only solution we can recommend right now is to use close-up filters. So basically 37mm close-up filters, they are available on B&H, Amazon, eBay. They come in sets with different magnification power. We found that +4 close-up filter is the optimal filter for that. If you put it on, it allows you to focus properly on the focusing screen, and you still can continue to use your DOF adapter with new iPhone.
And we will share a link to these focusing screens with you, so you can
actual
purchase
filters.
Yeah, the actual filters. I'm sorry, the actual filter. We're going to put it in description, so everyone who has the DOF and wants to use it with iPhone 14 can easily get those filters, and you know.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're like $14 on B&H. I'm sure on Amazon is the same. So that's the only solution, because even updated versions that we updated for 12 Pro Max, like previous ones, they both have the same focusing issue. So macro filters or close-up filters, that's the solution for that. Now let's talk about anamorphic lens. So our 133x anamorphic MK2 lens, the new one that we just released again back in May, this lens also works perfectly with new iPhones. There is no vignetting, because actual glass on the lens is much larger compared to our previous anamorphic lens, and also compared to any other anamorphic lens for a smartphone you can buy right now. So we specifically designed this new lens because we saw that trend that camera sensors, camera lenses on smartphones getting bigger. They creating issues with lenses that were designed previously for older generation iPhones or smartphones. So for that reason, we actually updated this design and we released this new lens. So again, with 24mm focal length equivalent on main camera, there is no vignetting. It has great sharpness from edge to edge, really clean image, nice contrast, a lot of details, so it just works perfectly. I guess what do we have here? 2x. We don't sell this lens anymore, but we wanted to test all the previous lenses we sold before. So this lens has some focusing issue, and it's interesting because on Galaxy S22 Ultra with kind of the same 24mm focal length camera, that lens works. It's focusing in infinity. On previous iPhones it also works, but on this one you can't focus in infinity. So I mean, that's what it is, I guess, but we are actually working on new telephoto lens that we are really excited about, and we will share more details when we're gonna do that other video, and we're actually gonna show you sample footage, so stay tuned for that too.
And that's not the only lens we're working on. We're working on a new anamorphic 1.55x.
155x MK2. Again, we're gonna share some sample footage in our other video. And just quickly, why we did MK2 version, the same reason as with 133 anamorphic, because we had to update optical design just to ensure that it's gonna work with larger camera sensors. Because guys, in this iPhone, camera sensor is 65% larger than on previous generation. Like actual camera module, it's much bigger. So wider lens, all of those updates, when Apple and other manufacturers increase the size of the sensor of the optics, they want to get better image quality. That's what it is. But in fact, it does affect the quality of external lenses if those lenses were designed for smaller sensors. So for that reason, again, we're updating all of our lenses. We want to make sure they're gonna work great on these phones, on upcoming phones. So yeah, we're excited about new 155. Again, we tested, it works perfectly. It's really nice and sharp, and we're excited to share with you footage in the next video.
And for the fans of the fisheye, it's a little secret, we're working on a new fisheye lens.
Yeah, because our basic fisheye lens it still works like on all previous phones, but again, it is entry-level fisheye. It's very basic 2 glass elements. So new fisheye is going to be edge-to-edge sharp, really nice lens. It's the same type of lens that we have with 0.75 with our anamorphic. So we're going to have like the whole line of lenses: wide, anamorphic, tele, fisheye. Perfect lenses for latest iPhones, for latest Android phones.
That will cover each filming situation. Okay, so thank you for sharing that information. And now, what are your thoughts about new iPhone?
I mean, I like it. I didn't have much time to actually, use it because I tested cameras primarily. I wanted to test our app, so I didn't spend much time, checking out new features for iOS, for that.
But you're saying about 2x zoom.
Yeah, so actually for camera department, 2x zoom, I think that's like the coolest feature that Apple did. Because honestly, I think everyone was expecting 8K because of 48 megapixel sensor.
Well,
Apple,
that didn't happen.
Yeah, they didn't go this route because, I mean, we know how 8K is on Android, right?
You definitely do.
It's not the best because, I mean, you have a ton of limitations. It's like you cannot record in, I think it's 24 and 30 FPS or even just 30 FPS. That 8K video just doesn't look good. So instead of getting us 8K, Apple did something different, and I actually had a podcast back in 2020 with Blake from iPhoneographers, and he asked me what would I do if I was Apple and
working for Apple
and working on actual new camera on new iPhone. And 2 years ago, I said I would go with like larger sensor just to give customers, zoom on that larger sensor. And basically, it's like you have single camera with zoom and same sensor, same image quality. Just because if you have more pixels, you can actually zoom in, still preserve 4K resolution, but you are not utilizing the whole sensor. You're just basically cropping on that sensor.
Well,
so that's what Apple did. Honestly, we have to spend more time to test and compare if we shoot without zoom and with zoom. Right now, what we did, we compared it with iPhone 13 Pro Max when we applied 2x zoom on 13 Pro Max and on 14 Pro Max. There is a huge difference. I mean, on 14 Pro Max, you definitely can see many more details, right? It's on 13 Pro Max, it looks like it's a cropped footage. Here, it looks like it's 4K. And what we actually did, we tested that in Beastcam app. So just basically by applying 2x zoom. So it looks like that's how it works. So we don't need any special thing for that. You just basically applying 2x zoom, and you have nice looking footage. And what is interesting that actually if you pair that feature with our wide angle lens, you technically get from 18 to 35 millimeter zoom. So it's like wide zoom lens now. So you get same image quality with Kenko lens. You can go from 18, which is like really wide, to 35, which is like wide, but still it's good for close-ups. It's good for some I don't know,
different scenarios.
Yeah, and with Kenko actually, you can focus really close. So that's another thing. If you zoom in 2 times, you have 35 millimeter equivalent, and you can focus like a couple inches away. So this lens,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, now it's like, because before we used tele lenses or some macro lenses to shoot close-ups.
Close-up, yeah.
Now you can just go with wide lens, zoom in 2 times, and get really close to your object. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna show in our video. We'll show you guys.
We're definitely
different
making
scenarios.
another video for you guys where you will see, where we will show you more details, and we will talk much more about the new iPhone and give you more information about our testing.
Also, action mode image stabilization.
Yeah,
so
that's the new feature they got.
Yeah, I mean, they showed this in presentation, like it looks like perfect gimbal
Did you
shot.
test it on a field already? Did you or?
I did. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely more stabilized footage compared to cinematic stabilizations that Apple had before. But you know, first of all, it's crop. So you crop in a lot of your image. Second, I mean, it's better, but it's not like a gimbal, right?
Yeah,
so
it's never gonna replace the full sized gimbals.
Yeah, because GoPro is doing really good job stabilizing footage, like other action cameras too. iPhone, I mean, it's really good for everyday use, but don't expect it to be like a gimbal.
It's
right?
like an entry-level stabilization, kinda, like they did last year with cinematic mode.
Yeah, and for everyday use, again, it's really cool to have because it's going to be smoother. But again, it's not going to be like a gimbal.
Yeah.
And we also tested actually with lenses. So if you use, because you have a lot of crop, so you can put Kenko lens to get wider shot. It works because Kenko lens, there is no distortion. So if there is no distortion, image stabilization works great with external optics. Same with telephoto lens. No distortion, action mode works. With anamorphic lenses, it's kind of the same because we do recommend to turn off image stabilization when you use anamorphic lens because of the distortion from cylindrical glass. Image stabilization on the iPhone, it just can't fix that, you know, shakes and movement well. With anamorphic lens, it just creates like a gel effect. Same with action mode. Yes, you get kind of large crop, but you still have some distortion. And again, when iPhone trying to stabilize it, it just create some kind of mess. It just doesn't look good. So it's cool for some lenses. It's not good for anamorphic lenses, but it's kind of the same as we had it before. Like, we just recommend shut down image stabilization if you shoot with anamorphic.
So is there anything else in the camera department of the new iPhone you want to share?
Yeah, it looks like dynamic tone mapping got better a little bit. Again, we have to test it more. You know, when right now, like on all previous iPhones, if you lock your exposure and if you move your camera and your lighting in the scene changing, it starts to kind of auto adjust something, and basically you have your ISO shutter speed locked, but you still can see some shift in the exposure. So on those phones, it looks like it's a little bit better. You still can see it, but actually what I did, I tried to put like zebra stripes, you know, to see the exposure, and this way you can actually see better if you have this shifting or not. So I compared it with 13 Pro Max. Looks like 14 Pro Max is a little bit better. It's still there, but I mean, every year Apple trying to optimize it, I guess, make it better. So it looks much better. And another thing is, looks like you get cleaner image. Even, you know, we released smart exposure mode on the Beastcam, and that was helping us to achieve cleaner image. The same with iPhone 14 Pro Max. It basically works the same, but it also looks like whenever if you lock your exposure on highlights or shadows, and if you use smart exposure mode on Beastcam, at any scenario you're getting much cleaner image. So overall image looks cleaner. With smart exposure, it looks like really nice and clean. Yeah, so in general, I'm really excited about new iPhone because at the end of the day, it is the biggest update in the camera department in many years. It's 48 megapixel sensor. You may not see a huge difference right away because you just have to start using that camera. You have to shoot more, then you kind of realize the difference compared to previous phones, and you start to appreciate it more and more.
So yes, we will definitely put this new iPhone 14 to a good use. Guys, I hope we answered some of your questions. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, for more information, please visit our website beastgrip.com. Please stay tuned, and we will see you in next episodes.
Bye guys.
Bye.